Okay, it's 7 o'clock. We're going to bring this meeting to order here.
Thanks.
Okay, let's stand for the pledge. Clerk Trapp, could you call the roll, please?
Bartholomew,
Here.
Edwards, Fowler,
Yes.
Kerr,
Yes.
Parker, Rosso,
Here.
President Poznanski.
Here, and I did hear that from Parker that he was not coming tonight.
Okay, we have 5 present.
He's in Portland.
Yes, he's out of town. Okay, we move into our approval of the agenda. Does anybody have any issues with the agenda?
Mr. Parker wanted something tabled until he returned.
So his elected administrative pay order, all the way at the bottom?
Yes, can we table that until
Okay.
he's present?
And then under unfinished business, can we add an update about the road mills? Do we have one?
I don't have anything to say. Mm-mm.
Okay.
He still hasn't, since the last meeting, it's only been 3 weeks, so, no.
Okay.
But, just want to put it on there, is that enough?
Can we put it on, just make it official and then say you don't have anything?
Sure.
That way if they ask if there was any follow-up.
Yep.
Due diligence, I guess?
Is that going to be under unfinished business?
Yes, Dee. Okay, anybody else? If not, then I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda
I'll
with the
second.
add-ons.
Motion by Fowler, second by Rousseau. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None opposed. We move into our approval of the minutes for our June 26, 2023 meeting. Do we have any comments on the minutes?
Make a motion to approve the minutes for the June 26th.
Support?
Okay, motion by Care, support by Bartholomew. All in favor of approving the minutes? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None opposed. We will move into our approval of the bills. Our bills are in the amount of $220,906.30, and then also $42,964.20. Do we have any question, comments, or motions?
Make a motion to approve the bills.
I'll second.
Okay, we have approval for the bills, and the amount is presented by Fowler, second by Rousseau. All in favor, oh, actually, do the roll on that one, sorry.
Okay. Fowler,
Yes.
Rousseau,
Yes.
Bartholomew,
Yes.
Kerr,
Yes.
President Poznanski.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Okay. And we move into our special presentations. We will start with our Village Park update. That is you, Ruth.
This thing keeps on moving. It's gonna be in my lap soon. Hi, I'm Ruth Heidebrecht, 354 Salem Drive South. I'm involved with the park renovation in representing the Friends of the Park Board. And as you, most all of you are watching the park because we see your comments and all of that, but you can always go to our Facebook page, the Friends of the Village Park, and you can get pretty much updated every day on the park. So we're quickly closing and finishing the pavilion. So our goal was to have it completed and working by last week's Music in the Park, but our Michigan weather has not been cooperating with us all season, so we had a cancellation there. We are still on track for completing the park by the end of July. The pavilion has been approved and is ready for use We have passed our final electrical inspection, and the sticker is on the box. And we have our next Music in the Park on Wednesday, the 19th, in the Village Park. Clara Russell and Megan Posnanski will be out to the site to learn the electrical and the sound system, because it's all locked up and computerized and state-of-the-art. So they're going to get a quick run on how to do that and get the keys, so Clerk Trapp and President Posnanski can manage that from now on. And we still have some key elements to complete, but have everything that we need in order to do and be ready for the next band that's coming in on Wednesday. We will still have some key elements to complete, but so far, all we have is the roofing guys are supposed to be there tomorrow, if we don't have blowing rain, to install the ice and water shield that will go under the copper roof. The Earth Environments team is working to complete the brick paver floor and the remaining part of the dance floor, which, if you've seen it, it's been completed this week, but we're just sealing it and making the edges. The roofing guys are supposed to be able to start this week, and we are replacing some of the evergreens and picking up the arborvitaes that will grace the back part of the ramp where the bands will enter the pavilion, and those arborvitaes and that bed will also bounce a little of the sound from the post office. The state-of-the-art sound system that was installed by Rob Wisniewski's team is installed into the ground of the park. So the music will not reverberate off the buildings and off of our neighbors across Rawls. And it really sounds good. You should come and see it. The LED light stream that will change colors with the season and with events will be installed this week. The railing and accent rail that Shelley suggested, which was the rail that went to the dance floor, will be completed. That's going to take a little bit of time because we just put in the floor. The railings, accents, and lattice work that will be underneath the roof. I know a lot of people are looking at the pavilion right now and going, wow, that's really tall. But once you put in the accent railings and all of the lattice work up on top, it won't look so tall. And the edge of the roof, which has to be sealed after we do the lattice. The brick and limestone accents will be cleaned up and applied to the pillars, and the ceiling will be stained, because last week we got in the tongue and groove and the new LED lights, which will also change colors with the season or whatever band wants to use those lights. We are to complete the grass edges and the beds so that the irrigation company, American Lawn, which is also a local vendor of ours, can complete the irrigation, which includes drip systems and low spraying faucets or fixtures in order for it to efficiently water the grass and keep it nice and green. This is all targeted still to be completed by the end of July. We still have some small elements to place back in the park, some previous plaques of donors that will be placed on memorial benches, the drinking fountain that is still in process of being restored by Starkweather and the Boy Scouts, and the plaques for the pavilion and the engineering sign with the park restoration details will be installed at a later date as they're completed. We will also be installing a kiosk that will allow the village or Parks and Rec or the DDA to put in announcements and schedules of concerts that will be played in the park. I have spoken to Clerk Trapp regarding the new rental policies and plan cleanup after all of the events. And she will have the key to the pavilion sound system and electrical for anyone who would like to use the park in the future. I am meeting with President Poznansky next week to begin planning for the rededication ceremony sometime in September or 1st of October. We will also be planning a thank you dinner event in the park for all the amazing local contractors, residents, and artists that have worked with us and that have supported this project. And it will be up and beautiful very soon. So any questions?
Good job. Ruth.
Yes, thanks.
I heard you mention the key to the sound system.
Mm.
So if they're renting the gazebo, that they can also use the sound system with that?
Yes, well, you said there's a separate park and pavilion.
Correct, yes, because you either can rent the park or the gazebo, those are two separate rentals, but if we know they're having a gazebo, I believe we are able to just turn on the electricity. But per the park policy, they can't bring in like a DJ and all the extra lights and everything.
Oh, so you're just turning on electric,
I
not turning
believe
on
so,
the sound
yes.
system for them to plug in?
Not having done this yet, but I believe that's gonna be the protocol, is like just turning it on, so they have access to it. But the policy would prohibit them from bringing like equipment,
Right, okay.
like having
So
a whole
there's-
And then-
band, like just a regular renter, but the music in the park, obviously, they'll have their
Yeah.
equipment.
Right.
And then there's actually two boxes, electrical and the new sound system, which is all Bluetoothed and all of that. But those are locked up, so we don't have any problems with, kids coming in and wanting to play their Bluetooth music. But there's also two separate plugs on two of the pillars. One would be for the microphone, if they have it, announcer or MC. And then the other one is for the music. So they would be plugging in their own soundboards and not having to bring all of this, extra equipment.
So the electrical is metered, I mean, whenever they
Well-
turn on the power, and
We're
Yeah, the
getting to
residents will be
that.
paying for that.
we
Yeah.
will?
Yeah.
So does the payment come out of the $200, or if a resident, how does the bill get paid? That's the question.
Well, that would include the gazebo rental fee, because that's where the electricity is going to be, and the fee would be more for a non-resident, because their taxes don't
Which is $400.
pay for the care,
Yeah.
but a resident would still pay a fee to cover such a
So a
cost.
portion of that $200 goes towards the electrical,
It would be completely for all the cost of maintenance and operation, yes.
and what was the time?
And that
limit
would-
set?
And that would include, all the lighting in the park, which, there's gonna be uplighting in the trees, there's gonna be low voltage in the pillars and the pavilion itself, so you guys are gonna have to figure out how to separate all that.
$200 enough?
Sorry?
Well, I mean, that's on the
I said
agenda
it's
to be
$200
discussed,
enough.
now that we have a new item to factor
That meter
in.
gets the running, if it gets the running.
It's all LED and low voltage too, so there shouldn't be too much, issue with just what's going on, and I know you're working on a
Yeah, I would say in
meter.
one use, we don't need to recoup the whole month's payment from one person.
Why not?
Right.
You can pay it.
Well, and it's a 4-hour time block, and I don't, we haven't had requests past dark yet, so that might be to our advantage.
The daytime.
Yeah,
And Catherine, you said they can rent the park or the gazebo,
that is correct. Those are two separate permits.
but not at the same time?
Well, I mean, that would be a special, they would still have to fill out both.
Both.
And cover all of that, that might be a board review, depending on what exactly is going on.
There's two separate meters, one for the gazebo and one for the park itself. That's what I
That's a question for the electrical.
All right.
I know, we
There's
just
two
started
meters,
talking
right?
about the meter.
Yeah,
Megan
I'm
brought it
just
up last
worried
week.
about who's getting charged what, and
Correct.
what's not getting charged. So there's two meters, one's for the gazebo, right, and one's for the light.
There could be.
Where,
We're not in charge of putting meters in, but
no, I meant when you
But
turn
there
it on
is,
and off,
yes.
yeah,
Oh.
that's.
The meter
yeah,
I'm,
there's two
the
different boxes.
Yeah.
meter I was referring to is our water meter.
Oh,
So
for
there is
irrigation.
irrigation now,
Mhm.
and there's no meter to,
the electricity?
no,
So-
to count
Well,
how much
electrical
water is
and
being
electricity.
used.
I'm-
It's always best practice when you're using even your own facilities, you follow your own ordinances, and the park will need to pay that water bill.
I'm not talking about water, I'm talking
Yeah,
electricity.
but we need
Well, it's the same
electricity
thing.
for
We're gonna
that,
need,
too.
just like we would have to pay our electric bill, that park will need to pay its water bill.
But,
For irrigation.
Yeah.
I agree, but if
But-
we're making money from it, it might as well pay its way. That's what I'm looking
I don't know if we're necessarily making money, we're covering all of our costs.
at. Well, electricity is part of the cost, isn't it?
Yes, it would be
Okay.
part of the cost.
I think it's gonna
That's
be,
what I'm saying,
I think it's gonna be used a lot
Apply
more.
some of the money to
now.
it, as opposed to,
I think that's
Us
what, we're
getting
saying
new
the same
buyers.
thing. That is the point. That
Yeah.
is the whole idea of having a charge, is that then it defers the cost of that sort of stuff.
And
I
it'll
don't wanna
also,
pay any more than what I have to.
and it'll also be,
Paid zero.
ran by, I'm assuming clerk trap. It's all automatic on your phone now, so you can turn on the irrigation, turn off the irrigation. If you know people are gonna be running the park that day, you can stall it. So you don't have to run back and forth from the park. It'll all be automated, possibly on an iPad or something at the village.
I'd just like to see it paying for itself.
Mhm.
And it
Yep.
will.
That's the goal.
So the money's not going to go into a general fund,
No.
to where
It
it's
can't.
mixed in with everything, else. It would go into a specific line item area, okay. And the
But-
bill comes out of that,
Yes,
okay, cool.
those
But, like, we won't be
general
able to
ledger
see the
numbers have already
water
been
come out
established.
Of the park. That's out of our general water system, right?
No, that's out of our water.
Because it's not a separate meter?
Well, no, we're
We-
gonna
we
need, we're
hooked
gonna
it up
need to
to
get a
that
meter.
Original
Okay, we
meter
are gonna do it.
that was there for the irrigation
Yeah.
and for the,
Okay.
drinking fountain.
Okay.
So those are all ready to go, so you would just have to
Well, I like
establish
what
some
you
type
did.
of
It's
meter.
just that
Yep.
you're just trying to make sure the money gets allocated where it should be.
And I think historically, the village has always paid the utilities there. It's whatever, the Christmas tree, all
Yeah,
that
'cause
stuff.
We never rented anything, but now if we're renting it out.
Exactly,
money's being
and that's why, yep, and that's why we're charging for it.
We've
so
never
that they
rented it
cover
out
that
before.
cost.
It'll pay its way.
Yeah, we'll
And
be able
then-
to have our high school students, taking pictures in our own park instead of going to Shelby and all those other areas. So I see it as, being utilized a lot more, so I'm sure it'll cover the costs of that.
That's good.
And the fees for renting, does that also cover like long-term maintenance for the sound system, painting, staining, landscaping?
At this time, it does not, because I know we are still discussing what would be an appropriate fee. And I just have mostly the administrative costs outlined as far as processing and then trash pickup.
Okay.
And, but all the other
Cleaning,
items,
yeah,
yeah,
for each
cleaning,
event.
that's been included, that's been factored in, and security. But long-term maintenance, we have not discussed that. I don't know if that would be part of the fee or just part of a fund that we have established here at, in our general fund as village council.
You look at
And
the-
the-
I'm sorry, go ahead.
And the Friends of the Park aren't taking on any long-term maintenance responsibility? No, we really can't do that. I mean, once we
Yeah,
basically turn it back over to you guys,
yeah.
that's your responsibility.
There's a speaker system in it, correct?
Yes.
So during the wintertime, we cover these babies up, plastic them up, so they don't
The-
get.
have you-
I'm
you've
talking
seen-
clerk, I'm sorry.
Oh, you're not talking, are you talking
Well-
to me? Are you talking to me? Who are you
Sure.
talking to?
You can answer me, sure. But I'm just trying to preserve
The-
what you've done to make sure it lasts.
The speakers, have you seen them? You've been through there.
Yeah, I
They're
went
the,
through 'em,
you
but-
can't kind of see them, they're green. But they're strong enough for kids to stand on them. They're definitely for a park. So they are weather conditioned, but, anything electrical I would
We're in
cover.
Michigan,
Yeah.
yeah. Exactly.
And then the speakers that are coming out of the pavilion, there's only the ones that are coming straight down for the dance floor. And those are tucked up under. So those would be, weather protected.
So we have considered buttoning this thing up too during the winter.
Yeah, you're gonna need to blow out the irrigation lines, do that sort of thing, yeah.
After the tree
250
lighting
is up.
ceremony.
Yeah, I'm sure American Lawn could, they
First,
they do on a regular
I say we
basis.
do it this first year for the 200 and evaluate and
Mhm.
price needs to go up.
Yeah,
Because
then it can go.
maintenance is, those speakers go out. They get moisture in them, boy, shot.
Oh, I have seen them last a very long time. I mean, I have them in my yard and then they've been there about 15 years. and I don't cover them in the winter, so.
Sometimes they
and
tell
the-
you not to cover some things because it does collect moisture.
Yeah, the mildew and moisture, so, but, we can talk about
Yeah,
that with
yeah,
Rob.
we can work on it.
And, you know, talk to him about what the best way to do is,
Okay.
is to, you know, make those nice.
Thanks.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you, Ruth.
Thanks,
Okay, moving
Ruth.
on to our next presentation. This also has to do with our parks, our Romeo Citizen Parks Task Force presentation. The council did receive some pictures in your packet, but then also you received tonight at the table a written recommendation here. Just so you know, you have all of the stuff. Go ahead, Clark.
Well, want to thank you for allowing us to come to give you this quick update on our Romeo Citizen Task Force work we've been doing. Before I get started, I want to address or recognize two members of our committee, Nancy O'Brien and Bobby Chambers, are sitting in the audience tonight. And you can direct your questions to them afterwards.
Oh, okay.
Can you raise your hand so we know who you are? Okay.
As you well know, we've been working on this project for 7 months. If you are interested and want to know exactly all the detail we've been going into, all that information is on the Village of Romeo's website, showing our agendas and our meeting minutes and everything, because we put a substantial amount of hours into this project. We got started by looking at our first document was the Romeo master plan that was put together in '22. That gave us some good information because we were researching other locations in the village that might be available for green space or some things like that. So there's several pages in this document that gave us some heads up on some things to look at. We also took a quick look at all the places that the village cuts grass on to see if there's any of those possibilities. Those are few and far between. Most of that is just smaller little spots that probably wouldn't lend themselves to a park or a green space. That's not saying that there aren't other areas in the village someplace that might come up that you could put a tree in or just a bench or something, but for anything larger than that, there's not that many places. We looked at a couple of them. One of them was on First Street. There's a pumping station up in there that probably wouldn't. I don't know all the restrictions on that property. We could probably put some trees in there and a few things, but I don't think that's an ideal location for a park or a residential activities. We looked at the lot over on Prospect that the school is involved in. That's not on the table anymore. It might be in a smaller scale someplace down the road. We don't know for sure. That's not saying there might not be other activities in the village that we could look at if we partnership with, maybe one of the schools, because there's a large forested area that might be good for a place to walk through and enjoy nature, but then we'd have to do some kind of a venture with some kind of a partnership situation. We also looked at what this lot over on Sisson would do for the city. There's a term called cityscape that gives you a visual picture of what the village of Romeo would look at like if we did have a park there. And if I go back to the master plan, it does recommend that this lot we're looking at, should be a park or a green space. As I look at, I haven't lived here that long, but as I look at the village of Romeo, we kind of need to look at the overall picture. We got a nice DDA program going on that does the downtown, but we also need to tie in some green spaces that would, kind of balance out the village and give the village a little of a morale factor. So we looked at a little bit of that. We also looked into the possibilities of finding grants to pay for this project, and there's a lot of money out there. I've talked to a couple of foundations that are willing to, are very receptive to us asking for money, because as our committee kind of looks at it, this green space would probably be paid for out of grants or some kind of a donation program or something. We haven't looked into all of that yet. But we did, a while back, send out a survey to get some feedback from our residents, and we got about 30 actual surveys back. We've talked to people, so we've talked to at least 20 other people, but of all that, and that totals up to about 50 people, we've only had one negative comment on not making this a park. So we've had some positive feedback from everybody we've talked to. And to give you a little bit of a flavor for that, I'd like to read a couple of specific comments on some of the surveys we got. The first one we got was from a female that in the 65 age bracket that was saying that Romeo needs additional green space. We don't need additional condos or anything. We need something to balance out, what the village is going to look like. And they would like to see a walking path or sorts put in there. We got another one back from another female that's in the 25 to 34 age bracket that we asked a question, where would you like to see another park or green space? And her answer was anywhere. So there are a lot of people that are, behind, us doing something, because they look at that area over there as a kind of an attraction that would balance out the village. It's only a 12-minute walk from that area to downtown. So and we got another comment from this time from a male in the 25 to 34 that they would like to see more outdoor open spaces for walking, where they can enjoy, scenery, and they could enjoy getting back to nature. We had another comment come back from another female that says that they would like to see a green space, and please let me know where donations can be accepted. So there's reception out there for people that want to, donate, kind of to support something on an ongoing basis, and this task force would be looking into that, because if we did something that we'd want to have kind of an endowment that would take care of the maintenance and the ongoing, so it wouldn't be a draw or drain on the village of Romeo. The last one was from another male asking, this project seems to be taking a very long time to get anything started, so we're here tonight to try to get it started. And with that, I'd like to, I had an artist friend of mine do some small renderings. I'd like to pass those out to, because with me, a picture is always worth 1,000 words. When you look at these, you've got to understand that they're a projection of some place in the future. It's not going to look like that to get started with, but this first one is kind of an overview of what some of that might look like. And these other ones are a picture of what
Your friend
that
is
might
quite
look
a-
like.
Your friend is quite a good drawer here.
He's a very good artist.
Yes, he's pretty good.
And we also looked at the possibility of making this, one of the things we'd do to draw funds into this would be to put a monument up, and we'd do some kind of a drawing to come up with a name, or we could do a veterans kind of thing over in one part of it. So this one says Reflection Garden in it, and I'm sorry to say that it has Michigan State and
This is on
Michigan
canvas, right?
flags here.
Mr. Clark?
Pardon me?
The other one. This is on canvas, isn't it?
Pardon me?
This is on canvas?
Yes,
This is pretty much good.
yes.
Yeah, this sounds good.
So what we're here tonight to do is, this committee would like to make a recommendation to the board to make a first step, because I visualize this as a long-term process, and would be up here several times throughout the next year or so to keep you informed of what's going on and things, but we'd like to recommend that this would be a first step to designating Sisson Street as a park or as a green space. So I'd like you to take that into consideration. And finally, I'd like to read, because I passed out a document to the trustees here, but I'd like to read the final comments on our page here. This is, when you're evaluating this, if you would remember, this committee believes that this proposed park will create a safe, beautiful, uplifting green space that will spread positively for years to come and will add value to the Village of Romeo community, and will continue to pay it forward to future generations of Romeo families, and more importantly, to our children. So with that,
Can I put one thing on your radar?
yes,
Here's the committee radar. I kind of mentioned it to Ruth a year or so ago. We have some property behind the DPW yard, which borders the Clinton River Creek. You know where the trestle's at? You take the path, the trails path. And you'd have to probably contact, I think, Armada Township to do a partnership with them, and maybe even the, Don Brown with the Board of Commissioners. But since you guys are out looking, I think that'd be a fantastic place too. And you mentioned, one of your responders mentioned about a trail, so the trail's sitting right there.
right.
Those trails, but we have that property, and it's behind our DPW yard, and it does right to the Clinton River Creek, so.
Right.
I mean, it's something that, just to put on your radar, I'm sorry.
Sure, and I appreciate that. What we've got here is that, we've got this task force, we've also have the Romeo Tree Board. So if we can't look at property to do something, but we can always plant trees there and things to add value to our place and replenish, because if I look around, there's a lot of trees being cut down in Romeo that should be replaced. And the tree board should be working hand in hand with this committee as well as DDA and this board to enhance the value of the place we live. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Clark.
Thanks.
We will
If
discuss
we can,
later.
can we pass the pictures? All right,
Oh, I can,
around this.
to the people yet?
So-
Yeah.
Your artist is really good.
Okay, excuse me. We move into our public correspondence we have none, sorry. Into our public comments. If anyone would like to make a public comment, now is the time. You have 3 minutes. Just please step up to the podium. No? Okay. Oh, then, yes.
Do I need to state my name?
Yes, please.
I'm Pam Kuchar, I live in the village. I've lived in Romeo almost all my life, I guess. Looking at that property that is available on Sisson Street, I guess I would like to find out what the village or the association, you guys, what would you like to see go there? I mean, it's been vacant for years. I mean, truly, I went to school at sixth grade at Croswell, and it was always vacant. It was never, there was never anything there. So I guess I am looking to see, what would you like to see go there? I mean, have you guys ever talked about it, or do you have some ideas that you already know? Or are you just getting ideas on what you
I think we settled on a park, for sure.
Okay,
And then we developed a task group to start getting information in that, so
okay,
that's,
okay.
unless somebody disagrees or something.
No, I think Nate's right on. My personal thought is, I thought we should sell it, because I think there's probably a homeowner, there wasn't, somebody at one time
Mhm.
was interested in it.
To do what?
But
To do what with it?
build a house on it.
Okay.
Residential.
But the process was just done incorrectly.
Mhm.
But since we do own the property, I think the next best thing is the park.
Okay. I was just getting educated. I just wanted to kind of see what you thought about it and where you thought you were going with it. Because I think it'd be a great park, you know, some place to go and sit, and just would be nice, you know, to see, other than condos or a house. And
So you
of course,
went to
I live
South
at,
grade school, huh?
pardon me,
You went to South grade?
in
school?
sixth grade.
Yeah.
And then I went to North Grade School before that.
North grade?
Mhm.
Oh, man, there we
Yep.
go.
Yeah, so I've been
Many
around.
moons ago.
When we used to come out of sixth grade, we used to walk over there, and we would catch snakes back in there. And now, to this day, I'm deathly afraid of snakes. I won't even go near them, so I don't know where that came from, but, yeah, we'd catch snakes back in there. Same property.
If we make it a park, we'll get rid of the snakes for
Yeah,
you, so
kidding.
that you'll
Jeez.
visit it.
I'll be not going out.
Do we have any more public comment? Okay. We will close our public comment time. We will move into our officer reports. Let's see. Clerk Trev, we'll
Okay.
start at your end, I guess.
I'll start. With the approval of the current budget that we did just in June comes the end of the fiscal year. Numbers are still coming in, but it's looking like the budget from last fiscal year came in almost $250,000 under budget. Also, with the end of the fiscal year comes preparation for the annual audit. I have already started working with Plant Moran with pre-audit research. The official audit will begin in October. And the cemetery board met at the end of June and have discussed plans with going forward with the start of an expansion project. The cemetery board has been doing more research for columbariums and their size and structure and where they would fit in the cemetery. And we are now mapping out some ideas of a potential area to have our first columbarium, but details to come as we are starting to work with one of the companies to see how long that would take and what kind of construction on our end as far as preparation of the cemetery it would involve. And our next cemetery board meeting is going to be in early August. That is what I have.
Can, at your next meeting, or maybe work with our legal, can you find out if we do have some type of agreement in place with the Romeo Community Schools?
Romeo Community Schools, okay.
Regarding their retention on their property.
Right, because I still can't find anything, but okay, yeah, I'll keep looking.
Mr. Clark, you mind?
Oh, absolutely not. Whatever you want me to do, however you want me to participate, I
Well,
will.
we can dig, if we can use the leverage to our benefit, then,
Sure.
okay, thank you.
I apologize. You did receive sorry, not clerk, treasurer report in your packet. It's towards the back. And then for myself, for president report, we'll keep it short as we had less time between our meetings, having the late meeting last month. But just hope everyone had a good 4th of July and enjoyed themselves. We have moved on into one of our improvements. Our police roof has been done. The only light that comes now from the ceiling is when they flick on the light switch. There's no more holes, and the sun does not come through anymore. So thank you to Paramount for getting that done. We had an EV tip, one more meeting, myself and Treasurer Miller. They wanted to come back and ask us on when we first met with them, it was like maybe 10, 12 of us. Then there was a car accident that happened, and the whole event was kind of overwhelming. So they wanted to come back on a smaller scale and ask a few more questions specifically of the village. So the treasurer and myself were available for that, and we do plan, I got an email from them today, in about another week or so they're wrapping up, and we will sit down for another meeting, and they'll come and show us what their plans are, what they've come up with from there, and then we'll be able to move forward. with the tree board as the liaison there, because, again, the short timing between the last meeting, we haven't had a meeting. It is this Thursday at 7 PM right here if you'd like to attend the tree board meeting. As the liaison on the DDA board, update that the little library has been placed, that the board here approved in that parking lot behind Younger's office, so that has been installed. We have had the kickoff of the Music in the Park. Sadly, the first one didn't happen due to the rain. However, come out this Wednesday, 6 to 8:30. And these will be every Wednesday, 6 to 8:30 till the end of August. So if you can't make it one week, don't worry, there's a few more happening. Parks and Rec will also be having a few music in the park in the village. Theirs are on Sundays. Yes, so we got music coming at you all summer long here. And then Vintage Fest was this last Saturday. Good turnout for what it was. We had a threat of rain the whole day, and by the end, though, we had the sun came out and graced us, and the chamber was able to have a nice end of the evening with the Heartbreakers and their beer tent back there. So that was very nice. Thank you to all the volunteers and everybody who helped put that together. We do appreciate it. And then with the subcommittee of our fire ALS, we have not met. We are meeting next week and moving into our second meeting and just continuing our negotiations there. So that's where we are with that. Our water bills have come out. If you've received it, it looks a little different. The charges were all still the same. I had a few questions of like, wait, I didn't understand. The only thing that changed this time was the look of the bill, that it was coming in an envelope in paper form. Next time you receive your bill in September, that is when the new rates are into effect. So you will see, how should I say this? It's technically in effect now. So as you're being billed right now, you will see those rates differently on your bill in September. And that is it for me. I don't know, Nolan, you want to go with trustee? Start?
I'm good.
Okay.
Same here.
No? No? Nathan?
Yeah, I have two things. One, I was disappointed to hear that at the cemetery board meeting, the paving project kind of got changed to possibly just using crushed limestone. It really needs to be paved. I think with I know you can still plow over gravel and raise the blade a little bit, but with all the hills in there, it would just constantly be digging it. I think it would be a mess. So I think we should look more to getting that paved like we were planning on. The other thing is I had a business call me this afternoon. They had just received their tax bills, and of course, this has been an ongoing problem that we need to address. The businesses are still paying for trash pickup service that they're not receiving. And I think that extends to the industrial park too, if I'm not mistaken. Now, I know it's been like that for a long time, but if we could put that on the next board meeting agenda for more discussion, or maybe a resolution and a final date that we could have that problem taken care of, that'd be great.
Well, I know we do have our RFP going out. When is that going out?
I'm
This
hoping
fall.
to have it posted on Monday.
Okay. Are we going to talk about it next month, August, June, July, August?
Yes,
Okay. No, we're already talking about
Yeah.
it. It's going to be bid out that way.
it's already on the agenda.
People often, we are not taxing people illegally. The fact that they get this tax and however do not receive the service, I mean, it's government. We all pay the cemetery tax, yet none of us are there yet. I don't even have a plot there. Many of us don't have a plot there. We all pay school taxes. A lot of people don't have children currently in, maybe were never in, and might not have children in there. So this isn't something that's illegal. It is something that is done. Whether it is something we want to continue to do, that is up for discussion completely. But I just want to get rid of the idea that it's illegal, because it's not.
I don't know about that. It seems like if you're paying for a service and you're not receiving it, seems like thievery to me. But anyways, if we could put it on our next agenda for discussion, and hopefully we can get something done.
Right. Okay, moving on into our unfinished, well, Yeah, we don't have anyone here from the crosswalk project. So into unfinished business, we'll move into our village gazebo rental policy. This was the permit that we're still looking at to update. We discussed it a little bit when Ruth was here, but feel free to open it up and deep dive.
I like it. I think we can try this structure for the next year and see how it is, and if we're really lacking in one area or we're not, we can adjust it at that time, but I like it. I think it's fine.
Yeah, Clerk Trapp pulled out, where was it? She has the draft permit in here now and the forms that we'll use in the office, so everything is finally all coming together here. Yeah, if you like it how it is and everything that's included.
Sure, I'll make a motion to approve the village gazebo rental permit as well as the rules and policy as presented for
Support.
1 year.
I'll second. Oh,
Can I make two quick suggestions before we?
Well, let's say, we got our motion by Care, second by Bartholomew. And it
Yeah,
was-
I'd like the motion to include a 1-year trial period for the rate structure, if we can
Okay,
add that in.
I would agree with that as a second.
okay, go ahead.
Just two quick things, Catherine. Under the smoking and alcohol, we have no glass containers. But below, under trash disposal, we have that they shall not destroy glass containers. And I don't know if that means if you happen to break glass but we're not allowing glass, right?
Correct. We're not allowing glass,
Do you want
but,
to
I mean,
remove shall destroy glass containers, or?
that's up to you guys if you want to remove that. I'm sorry,
'Cause
it's
it
under
says
trash
no-
disposal?
Yeah, it says no glass.
Has legal looked this over, Mark?
I've looked this over. The no glass containers is under smoking and alcohol. And then the point to which Ms. Rosso is mentioning or directing our attention is under the trash disposal. There does seem to be a bit of redundancy there. If you're not gonna have glass and you bring it and break it, I guess you should pick it up. Whether they need to be reminded of that or not, that's up to you. But I guess the concern would be, and I don't mean to speak for you, Ms. Rosso, is that if we're not gonna allow it, why would we address breakage and cleaning it up? There's an implication there, I guess, but again, either way, but the prohibition is stated under smoking and alcohol.
So strike that line?
I would recommend you strike the line, because if they have them there to begin with, then that's gonna be a problem. I don't know that they need to promise not to destroy or break things that they're not supposed to bring to begin with.
Yeah. And then my other one was, where the renter signs, it says renter mailing address, and I'm wondering if you want their home address as well, simply because someone who might not, or might live in the village only has a PO box or vice versa, so their mailing address isn't gonna look like their home address, so how
Oh,
are you
okay.
gonna distinguish
Right,
within the village versus outside? Do you know what I'm saying?
yes. That would make sense. So both, then? We're okay with both? Or should we just say home address?
Just home address.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'd say home.
I'd like to amend my motion then
Yep.
to include the verbiage renter home address instead of mailing. And we can omit the redundancy on the no person shall destroy glass containers line as well.
Yeah,
My support is with that as well.
Okay, when you're ready, unless there's more discussion, go ahead and call the roll.
okay, give me 1
Thanks,
second.
Shelley.
And remove. 1 second, 1 second.
You're fine, take your time, it's only 7:49.
Shh, redundant. About
Not gonna rush
broken
her.
glass. Okay. I'm sorry, that you said a roll call vote?
Yes, go ahead.
Care,
Yes.
Bartholomew,
Yes.
Russell,
Yes.
Poznanski,
Yes.
Fowler.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries 5-0.
Okay, moving into our travel policy.
Thank you, guys.
This one was mine. Any of the updates were in yellow, things that we had discussed at last meeting. On the first page, added the sentence of who would approve the clerk and who would approve the president. On the second page, adjusted the overnight lodging to be within the 50, or outside the 50-mile distance, and then that each applicant is entitled to their own room. Let's see. And on the third page, we decided no advanced monies would be given. However, advanced reservation and classes could be signed up for with the village credit card. So there is that. So.
Or a 50-mile radius.
Correct. And most of them are not close anyways. If it's just a drop into Lansing or a class that's just a daytime, there's no overnight need for, usually the ones that have lodging are 2, 3, weekend or, Friday, Saturday, or Thursday, Friday, Saturday kind of thing. Usually though, if it's just a daytime, one drop in, there's no need for a hotel.
Catherine, since you're the one, the clerk will be the one mostly using this, would it be beneficial to put mileage on the same expense report, so there's not two separate, or did you break them out separate for a reason?
We've had the separate mileage form a lot longer, so I just kept it separate right now. It
Okay.
can go together, but that is a form that has been in the office for a few years already,
Okay.
so,
Well, and I don't know.
I mean.
It's up to you. It's your forms that you keep. So, because sometimes we do just, obviously, if it's within 50 miles, or I go to a luncheon that's 20 miles away, I'd only turn in the mileage report. Whether you would care if that was on the same or not, that's your prerogative.
So they do function separately?
They do,
Yeah,
yes.
okay,
We've been
all right.
using
Yeah,
just
cool.
mileage way a lot longer.
Yep, okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Motion or continue with comments?
You good with it?
Yeah.
Make a motion to accept the travel policy draft as written.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion by Fowler, support by Care. We'll do roll call on this also, as it's make it more official, as we're accepting a policy to begin with. It's never been here before. It's no adjustment.
Fowler?
Yes.
Care?
Yes.
President Poznanski?
Yes.
Bartholomew?
Yes.
Rosso?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Okay, and now we're moving into our discussion of the Romeo Park Citizen Task Force proposal and what we heard tonight in the presentation and the request.
So I didn't understand fully the request. So the task force is requesting that we designate that property as a park? Is that basically it?
Right, so when we created the task force and sent them out, we kind of sent them out to find all of the areas, decide what could or couldn't be, or, what we did have, take an inventory. And so their request is to specifically, in order to walk forward, so that they aren't wasting their volunteer time, knowing that this is going to be a park, instead of continuing to walk forward in their time, for us to just come back with their idea and say, oh, actually, we don't want that, we just prefer to sell it or do nothing with it. And then they've put all of the effort in.
Right. So it's
So-
just a formality?
Yeah, in order for you guys to apply for funds and grants, you need it designated as a park, right?
That sounds about
We
right.
can walk and talk at the same time,
Yes.
we kind of broken the village down into 4 quadrants, and so we're gonna continue to look at those other areas. But we wanna, while we're doing that, we wanna focus in on, because we have 2 foundations that have come to us and said, hey, we're receptive. We wanna kind of go after that money while it's there and get going on this one project. And we can't go to them, and we can't talk to architectural landscaping people if we don't have something in our hand that says we're gonna do it in a reasonable period of time.
Okay.
Instead of wasting their time. We gotta be productive on both sides of the coin here, so.
I second Nolan's motion.
One thing I'd like to mention, just so you consider it before you cast your votes, and this, I'm not weighing in on one side or the other. If you designate it as a park, which you have every authority to be able to do that, then the property can't be sold unless there's a vote of the people. You can designate it something less than a park, green space, open space, and you may say, well, we'd like to designate it as a park because we don't want it sold. So it preserves it unless there's a vote as a park. But I didn't want you to make a decision and then find out a year from now, 5 years from now, oh gee, I wish we would have thought about that before. So I just offer that for your consideration.
So if the thing happens to go bust after 5, 6 years, the only way to sell the property is the people have to come and vote on it.
Yes, you have to put it to a vote. You can't sell, the village cannot sell park property without a vote of the people to approve it. So that's part of the protection. Just using the most obvious example, your village park downtown, it might generate a few dollars if you bulldozed it and put parking in there, but you can't do that because it's designated as a park, and the people could vote to do that. You could put that issue to the voters, but as the legislative body for the village, the council couldn't do that on its own.
You know, I understand where you're coming from, but the situation is if we're gonna go out for donations and we're gonna try to set up funding on this thing and we're gonna ask people to donate trees and stuff and put it in there, you know, you wanna kinda have it locked in that it's not gonna get 5 years down the road when the 7 of you change hands and they vote to wanna do something else. We've already got situations already set up for donations, funding and stuff. We've got people that have donated bricks or whatever it is, park benches. It's
Well, we're gonna lock it in with this, we're gonna lock it in with this vote right now,
right.
assuming. So, yeah, and then that'll take care of that problem.
So let me ask, is it my understanding correct that this is the last real piece of vacant land that we have that the village owns?
No.
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 No, it is not.
No, so where's the other additional,
It's on First Street,
the
just,
pump station?
It was about
yeah, just south of Benjamin.
an acre there, roughly, just under it.
Okay, I'm thinking like substantial size usable, because
We own-
here's my thought or my question. If we look to the future, if we have to have a larger village hall, a larger police department, a larger fire department, or something, then all we have is the First Street pump station, correct, available to us?
We do own the property where we're currently sitting at.
Mhm.
We lease it, so, to the Parks and Rec, so there is always the option of this. It is quite a
This-
large footprint here.
That's the only-
That is, it's just not vacant,
we have
Yeah.
property across from
there it
Powell's.
is, issue. but, yeah.
Okay.
It's a little far.
And if we designate Sisson as a park, do we have within our means to maintain that? Both the grass, the shrubbery, the electrical?
I think that's what they're attempting to do, is they need the title in order to access the grants, funds that are out there.
No, I'm talking long-term.
Yes, I think it would go into their overall budget once they acquire those funds or request those funds from foundations. You get thousands and thousands of dollars and you budget it in to do exactly what maintenance or lighting or whatever needs to be done.
Okay.
But they need that title in order to knock on people's doors. Is that about it?
Now, Parks and Recs maintains all our parks. Would this one be included? No. Okay.
No, it really hasn't been.
Nolan, can you repeat your motion, please?
I don't think I had a motion.
Okay, just checking. All right. that's what I thought
Well,
I
Zach
heard.
seconded
Or-
it.
Zach seconded something. Okay.
So what's
That's
the
why I didn't hear
final red tape that we'd have to cross? Is it just as simple as us making a motion to designate that parcel number as the park and
Correct.
hooray, is that it?
Yeah, I would
Correct.
just say if any of us, or if we have a hesitation in any way, table it for a month. We sit and think about it. We get more of these surveys. We talk to the residents in light of Mark's pointing out that, do you want to own this and take this asset on?
Well, you already
There's
own
the
it.
option of that.
The village already owns the property. The reason I mentioned it at all was not to speak positively or negatively against any position about it. I just wanted to make sure that the consequence of the vote is understood. If you designated a park, which you have every authority, every ability to do that, then if you change your mind, whether this body or down the road 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, whatever it might be, long past my time on the planet, you're gonna have to change that use, to sell it, to do anything with it, you'd have to get a vote of the people. And I shouldn't say to do anything with it, to sell it, you'd have to get a vote of the people, an affirmative vote of the people.
Right, and I don't mean to say we don't care for our asset. We do
Right.
mow it and we do
Right.
care for the asset. I'm
Yes.
talking more.
I'll make a motion that we change the property at 0403276006 to a park designation on Sisson Street.
Support.
Include the signal number, correct, Mr. Clark?
More information is always better, it avoids confusion. If it has an address, which at one time the DPW was there, I don't know if it has an address.
378.
I would
378,
include the address then, too.
and the signal number plus 378 Sisson Street.
Right, and so once we designate the whole footprint into a park, no portion of it can be sold off either.
Not without a vote from the people.
Do we want to wait for our other two board members to weigh in on it? or-
These guys need to go.
I don't know.
Keep running.
I feel like you have hesitation. As the liaison and the one attending the meetings, is there something that,
I do. When it all started, I was all for it. That's why I got on the committee. I'm just not sure, like Mark said, if we make it a park and then we need it, we can't get it back. I've never been a proponent for, giving away alleys and things that could generate revenue. You know, we could sell them or whatever. So I'm just a little hesitant. We don't have all of the information. We don't have all of the vision yet. The southeast quadrant has the most density of residents and has the least opportunity. And it would be nice to maybe focus creatively on what the need is and how can we meet that need. Versus, yeah, we need parks, here's a vacant piece of land, let's do it. It's where do we need those parks? Where is the serious need? I mean, you look at all those children that live in the southeast side and all of that density, and they have nothing. So I'm not saying that's the answer either. I'm just saying, have we been thorough enough? Have we really researched enough? Like the master plan indicates, we have 38 acres of parks and rec space open to active and passive activity. That's a lot. 38 acres is open to the village.
You know, the master plan says you have less than 3% of the total acreage.
Right.
For
We have 38
green space.
acres. Yes,
Less than 3%
correct,
of what you have here.
yes.
So to do something else with it,
We,
you know, I recognize it's 38 acres out of 1,300, but it's less than 3%.
right, and location-wise, it's right up, it's the last parcel in Romeo, goes up to Washington. Across the street is Croswell, so Croswell has a huge opportunity there for people to walk and play and sit. So I'm not sure. I'm not saying I'm against it, I'm just saying I'm not sold on it yet.
Well, I think we're gonna find out in a minute here, because there is a motion on the table in a second.
I kind of think of it inversely. I think I'm pretty happy to designate it that, because now we're guaranteeing that space stays a park. We're giving that commitment to our village that we're gonna try to keep it beautiful. If rough years come along in a couple years from now and we have to sell it, it might get us through a little rough patch, but now we lost a 1 acre park in the village. I mean,
And residents.
I like the fact we're cementing it in for good. It protects the property.
But it
Against
has to
us
stay a
and-
park,
Sure.
and it's not
absolutely.
gonna generate any revenue.
I'm happy
And
with
so
that.
our new park is going to be quite an expense to maintain, just like our new 12 lights up 32 Mile are gonna be quite the expense to maintain. So can we afford another?
Just because the property's designated a park doesn't mean we have to build it out to this idea immediately
Right,
or at all. It can
Right.
stay just like it is, an empty lot.
yeah. And that's why I'm saying I'm not completely against it. I'm just not sure I feel we might be moving quickly, and not getting all of the information, at least for me,
Right.
and feeling at ease that we've got a handle on all of us.
I understand you're talking about money, but if this, task force is still around, we can still get grants to maintain that property.
Right,
Yeah.
I understand.
So it's,
Mhm.
and there's plenty of other places like the Romeo, the Village Park, that's gonna eventually bring in revenue,
Right,
and hopefully other places too.
Yeah.
We do, I'm not officially on that team yet, but we do want to find a park that the children can play in each quadrant, each board quadrant.
right.
They
So why do we need to hurry up and do this one when we haven't looked at the whole big picture yet?
Because it's there, it's available, we've already looked at it, we have ideas, and I'm sure we're gonna look into DPW, like Mr. Fowler said. But we wanna cement it so that we have it, cause there's people who don't have kids,
Mhm.
who wanna walk in a nice wooded area.
It's not wooded.
I know it's
And
not
nor
wooded.
will it be for 20 years, really.
No. But
So my
cement.
perspective, which is what I'm sharing, is that we have not solidified a big picture, and I'm not a fan of making small steps without looking at the big picture and having all the facts. That's just me. I like to know what I'm getting into. How are we gonna pay for it? Is it organized? Or is it just, let's go for it? You know, so that's my perspective. Not to say I'm against it, I'm just not sure today.
Okay, if we have any more,
We can.
I'm sorry, public comment is over. I do apologize. Right, public comment was at the beginning, so we don't generally comment. Right.
Roll call vote?
Go ahead and call,
All right.
unless anyone on the board has any more
Okay,
comments.
so it's motion by Fowler,
Yes.
Care,
Yes.
Bartholomew,
Yes.
Rosso,
No.
President Poznanski.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-1.
Okay, moving into, you wanted the addition of the road mills update. I officially have no update. Haven't had any communication after the initial communication. But we can keep that on there. Into the new business, our fee schedule update. We had a few things we wanted to bring back. With all the properties in the village and all the things happening around here, we've had requests for some pre-planning meetings of people who haven't even bought a property yet. So a pre-planning meeting is happening, people are being paid for that, yet this person doesn't even own the property. And even those who do own the property, it does cost hours for Cindy, the clerk, myself, our building inspector, different people to come into the office. Yes, so we would like to, well, actually, there's no
What do you
fee here on
propose?
here yet. Hmm?
Have you looked at neighboring communities and do they have a similar
I did-
structure?
A lot of neighboring communities, I've been looking through them. The pre-planning meeting is not so much as they roll it into their site plan reviews and all of those reviews. We just find that we are having a lot of them ourselves, and, you know, other communities, it's just a site plan or building review. And those are minimum $200 to $300.
I'll make a motion to accept the fee schedule.
Support?
We don't have
We
fees
don't
on it
have
yet.
any presented.
Oh, is it? Should be on it.
There's a couple other ones, though, what we're asking for.
So is the issue that people who don't even own the property are doing the, what's, the issue?
Yes, the issue is, we have property owners and non-property owners alike come in. You know, they have the idea, they want to go through, you know, talk to planning, talk to the building official, talk to,
Yeah, what can be done there?
what can be done? What steps, they
they-
want to know their
yeah.
steps before they get in too deep, or they do the wrong
Right,
steps,
before
or
they
they
make
bring
a
the wrong
bid or
idea to the
purchase.
village.
Right.
So we offer these pre-planning meetings so they can get their ducks in a row and they leave with their information packet. And we have these meetings are at least an hour. We have all these personnel that I have listed here are in attendance. And then they're not, those costs are not worked into the building permit, they're not worked into the site plan
Right.
reviews. Some of these people, they're like, oh, I'm thinking about purchasing this property. Well, and we give them the courtesy of, you know, explaining our policies and our ordinances to them in these
Right.
meetings, and then we never see them again.
Record a-
After we've
record a
assembled,
video.
pardon me?
Just record a video for them and you can keep playing it.
Well, but I mean, no two meetings are alike.
Right.
Fee for my motion?
Oh, that would be great, Zach.
Yes, $150.
For non-property, do you want to charge less for the property owner?
$150.
I'll maintain my support.
Okay,
For both of them? Okay.
Yes.
all right, one moment. And then, okay. Second by Bartholomew.
Okay, could you call the roll?
Yep. Fowler?
Yes.
Bartholomew?
Yes.
President Poznanski?
Yes.
Care?
Yes.
Rosso?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries 5-0. Thank you.
Okay, moving into the striping quotes. Let's see, so I had in here the minutes from the last time. This hasn't been done since 2020, and I just wanted us to also reference the price there. It was $3,600 back in 2020. Well, 36 for the parking lots, and then 15 for the crosswalks. We could not find, or I could not locate the map that was all of the work that was done at that time. So to say these are the exact same things getting done, I cannot verify that. But just wanted you to see what we were paying the last time we paid for it. Did try my best to get us 3 quotes, reached out to 4 places, even held it off a month in the hopes that the third one would come through. They did not, and I really wanted this to get done before Peach Fest so that everything is crisp, clean, people can see where they can park. And so brought it forward with the 2 quotes.
Do you know these TMT?
I like TMT. They do good work. And they're cheaper than the other one, correct?
Make a motion?
About a few
Yes,
bucks.
by a bit.
You did?
No, I'm answering your question.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we move forward with the striping, with TMT, parking lot striping at the amount of not to exceed $3,075.
Second.
Okay. Could you call roll on that? It was a motion by Bartholomew, second by, Fowler.
Bartholomew?
Yes.
Fowler?
Yes.
Care?
Yes.
President Poznanski?
Yes.
Rosso?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
And they said they could have them done before Peach Fest?
That is my hope, that we get them to them. I call her tomorrow and say, fit us in, that they will be done. Moving on to our homecoming parade route. Just need an approval for this parade route, starting on the Lions Field, coming up Washington, and then they head north on Main and turn left, what is that, on Newberry into the Village Park there.
Do they need a permit?
It's the same route they usually
They'll
take,
have to do
right?
the same, they'll have to request it from.
You don't have any issues
But
with
then
it,
we need
Chief?
to approve it.
You don't have any issues with it,
So do-
No, it's the same,
as usual?
route to take every time.
I know
Yeah.
it's been the same since 1983.
The way we call
Yeah.
it, Brandon said, was it 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock?
I don't recall.
will a permit come?
Ask her, I don't know.
6 o'clock on Main Street is still in the rush hour, but whatever you guys decide, I'm very accommodating, I'll make it work.
Clerk Trapp, trustee Rousseau asked if they needed a permit.
Yes, I'll need a permit to shut down the road.
Second.
I'll make a motion to approve the homecoming parade route starting at the Lions Club, up Main Street and ending at the new park.
Second.
Okay, motion by Care, second by Fowler. I know, I wanted to say everyone's first name, so I'm trying to be respectful. Say your last names. Okay, all in favor of approving the park route? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None opposed. Okay, moving into the Parks and Rec building lease. I was able to have a meeting about a week ago with 2 of the new commission members. So they wanted just to meet, get to know me, say hi, and in our meeting presented a couple asks. So here we have, I put in here in your packet, the original lease for the Parks and Rec building with the dollar for the 99-year lease that ends in 2093. And then I have in here the most recent lease for the building, the property we're sitting in, and that one was 2016. So they had 2 separate, obviously, asks here. One is, could we relook at the 99-year lease? And I said, well, I would take that to the council and ask to form a subcommittee to meet with them to figure out what it is their hope would be to change in the 99-year lease. It has been said that now that the entity, the commission has changed articles, that it no longer applies to that lease. I've conferred with Mark on more than one occasion. I don't know if you want to hear it yourself from him, if you would like to ask Mark, that is not the case, that the lease still applies for the 99 years, whether or not the articles, the name on it changed or
Correct.
however.
The lease goes with the property.
So I said, hey, we're up to talking through anything and seeing what you would like, entertain it. So that is one ask, that we would form a subcommittee and start meeting with them regarding that. And then the second was the 2016 lease regarding this building, that essentially they found that they don't really use it. So here they are, and they're asking us to take it back over, and that they would just like to rent some storage space. There's some storage here and some storage back there, and could you guys nullify, or, let's end the lease and just rent some space from you. So that is where we're at. The lease for this building says it was a 3-month lease. The whole point was they weren't sure how much they were going to use it to begin with, so we made it a very short term, and it would roll over another 3 months until one of us said we want it out. So this is kind of them asking. I don't have official letter or anything, but would we entertain?
Can you look into the rental prices of storage space and get back with us at the next meeting so we can make a decision for it, or help you make your decision?
I could.
That way we're able to look at an overall, if they want storage. Would that include their vehicles too out here?
No, I'm literally talking about the building we're sitting in. This is about as big as that footprint is.
The seniors.
That still is all wrapped in.
That's still wrapped in next.
With everything else. As far as I understand how the 99-year lease is laid out.
So, Mr. Clark, this just includes this building and the footprint on this building?
The separate lease does, as Mrs. Poznanski mentioned, at the time, I believe Parks and Rec had a spin class in here. And the reason it wasn't included originally is because WBRW was housed here. And so Parks and Rec, I don't know if they had any interest in it then, but there was no availability. And then when WBRW moved out, the space became available. The village council and other bodies were still meeting in the north building. And so the need wasn't, I don't believe, apparent for the village. And the spin class apparently at the time was somewhat well attended, and they used it and continued to do so. And I don't know, through some metamorphosis now you're here, which is fine, but apparently Parks and Rec doesn't want it. They didn't pay any additional monetary rent. They didn't go from $1 under the old lease, $1 a year, to $1.50 with this one. They did pick up the utilities. I don't know if they're still paying the utilities. They had utilities, maintenance, and insurance. And so if you release them from this, or they could, if you don't release them, they could just say, give you notice and say, in 90 days we're out, and the village would have to pick up those expenses.
To make sure it's included. Since you mentioned the.
Zach, can you turn on your mic?
Oh,
Mr. Clark? please.
since you included the overall 99-year lease, does that include our softball fields too?
Yep,
at the
it
top?
includes, if you look at the document, it includes, in the description of premises on page 1, paragraph number 1, including buildings, softball diamonds, tennis courts, basketball courts, parking lot, orchard, playground, and unimproved areas. And not all of the property is wholly within the village. Some of it, I don't know where, but as you go west and probably north, a portion of the property is in Bruce Township. But it's still owned by the village.
So they're asking for us to do another 99-year lease, starting over?
No, they want to have us talk to them about renegotiating that and changing those terms.
Okay.
And I said, well, I would get a subcommittee together
I'd like
and
to serve on that.
decide if we would like to. Okay, do I have one? Do we have anybody else who would want to?
I'll sit down with it.
All right.
Look at, when you guys meet together, look at our property. See if we can massage our way into not,
Cemetery?
yes.
I know what you're talking about.
Okay, yeah.
There is already a clause in there for that.
Yeah, Mr. Clark pointed out. But I mean, that goes along with the retention pond on our cemetery, right? Just
Well,
take
no, there's an
advantage of it.
actual clause in the 99-year lease for the cemetery. If you read it.
Okay, I
and
won't
back.
go through this. I agree.
Can you make official that we have a subcommittee for Parks Commission, President Posnanski, Trustee Care, and Trustee Bartholomew?
So the subcommittee serves just to evaluate the 99-year lease.
We're
That's
gonna-
separate from this.
I'm at, yeah, two separate asks. So that we can at least have the task force and that we can meet with them, figure out what their asks are, and present it back to the board here. See if we're interested in changing anything or keeping as it is. I don't know, Parks Commission, Subcommittee, I don't know. Sounds good to me.
Things are moving along well with Parks and Recs. They got a great new board. Things are going good.
And do you want to table?
Well, I mean, it
The
sounds like we're
sign-
gonna have
I
to put the bill eventually,
Yeah.
either way.
Yeah,
I don't see a
as
need
soon as
to-
they,
Which had to form a supplement, correct?
no,
And then,
no, not for the 2016 lease for this space, I wouldn't think so.
Well, I guess if we can just figure out, where the money is coming from to pay the bills, because we weren't sure if they were footing the bill for this building or not.
They should be. I just didn't know administratively when the village took more use, both time and space in the building, whether any adjustment was made with Parks and Rec. And the other thing, I guess, if you wanted to sort of take the temperature, is to let Parks and Rec know, if it's your desire, that if they want to abandon the leasehold interest, just ask them to give you a letter saying 90 days, we'd like you to terminate it under the provision. Then they're making the decision. It's not you saying, well, we don't want you in here anymore.
Right. I think it was just our initial meeting and everything, and they didn't want us to, here you go,
Right.
So
Right.
we're just kind of easing into this. So, yeah, we can return with that and say we would entertain rent, and that we'll be coming up with a price. Okay.
So you need anything? Or just nothing?
No, just to the creation of the subcommittee, and I will go back to the,
So you need a motion
Commission.
for that, or not?
I think so. Motion to create a subcommittee?
No, you guys all agreed. Okay.
Moving on, apologize. I did get one applicant for the Romeo Park Citizen Task Force, so I have that in here for an appointment. It is Sharon Smith. I included her letter of request. So I'd like to put up Sharon Smith. We still have other spots that we are looking for other applicants to apply and send me an email. Letter of interest and, yes.
I'll make a motion to accept Sharon Smith for the position of Romeo Park Citizen Task Force.
I'll
Support?
second.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead. Shelley got that.
I'll second.
So we have a motion by Fowler, second by Rousseau. All in favor of the appointment? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Yes, anybody else, please? We're looking for people in all the quadrants. Send me a letter of interest. Al, you are up.
Got 3 minutes.
Okay, I need a pump.
You got as long, there you go. That wasn't a bad idea.
It's the third pump. We bought 2 in a row so far for our tower. We've got 3 pumps. This is the third one. That's why we're only coming with 1 quote, because 2 years ago I said we're gonna buy the same pump from the same people, because I need all 3 pumps to be the same.
Cool.
That's it.
Less than 3 minutes, I like that.
Huh?
So what's
I'll
your
make the
mo-
motion.
I was
that
saying,
we
what's your
move
motion?
Forward with this pump purchase request of, on the backside, it says $24,069.
Yes, that's with
And that's with all the
installation.
installation and, okay,
Second.
not to exceed.
Okay, we have a motion by Bartholomew, second by Fowler.
That was quick.
Could call the roll on it.
Bartholomew,
Yes.
Fowler,
Yes.
Care,
Yes.
Rosso,
Yes.
President Poznanski.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
And we had our last item tabled for next meeting, so that concludes our meeting. If we could get a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Motion by Fowler, second by Rousseau. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Meeting is adjourned at 8:27.